Okay, so I'm working on a series of articles.
Okay.
The first will be focusing on the history of the Loop 202. So tell me the first time that you heard of this project.
I heard about it in 1995 when I first moved back to Phoenix from New Jersey. I was aware that they were still working on that, at that point in time, decades old project, and it was starting to get some life back into it. So I've been aware of it since 1995. There were a number of us in the 2006 timeframe that felt we need to get an organization in place to formally oppose the building of the 202 on Pecos Road. And a number of us met with Greta Rogers and Melanie Pye and Bill Ramsey and decided to form PARC, Protecting Arizona Resources and Children. And we were formed as a legal entity in September of 2006. And I've been one of the original charter members of PARC since that time. I also am the treasurer of PARC and the statutory agent of PARC. So I've got a working knowledge of the issue.
So what?
We fundamentally feel a big question mark about the purpose and the need of it, because it's been on the planning documents for 30 years and we've been able to survive without it. And lately, as more information becomes available, it's starting to take the overtures of a bypass route.
So tell me what you remember of the history of the project.
Voter, based upon the information I've read, and I was not living in this state when the votes were passed back in, or the issue was passed back in 1984, but it was a major, it was a tax increase to fund the completion of the freeway project in Maricopa County, and in essence to make it a loop around the valley, to augment what we had on 10 and 17, to give another way for people to move traffic north, south, east, and west. And at that point in time, I think it was aligned to connect with what was going to be the 101, which is out at about 100th Avenue. And there was also another east-west leg of it, and I think that was called the Paradise Loop. And that loop never got off the drawing boards because of public pushback on that one. But you'll see it on the original maps. Evidently, there are a lot of forces that are not in the public's vantage point that's helping form this decision with ADOT. And a good example is the movement now away from the 101 alignment back to 59th Avenue. And we keep talking about a loop. Well, that's not a loop. That's a T-bone out there. That's what that's going to do. And I've driven on that section of I-10, and it is a nightmare out there between 59th coming back into the 17 or coming back into downtown. So I'm going to give you this too. Here's a small little map here. But what this map does, it shows the loop, the proposed loop around the mountain. To get to I-10 out here is 22 miles. And from the same starting point down here, which I'm going to call Pecos Road, to get to this point here also is 22 miles. But to get downtown, it's 17. So you got, I'm 17 here. To get from here to here, it gets to be 27. So you got to backtrack here 5 miles on. You take the 22 miles, put 5 to it, you get 27. And to go from here at Pecos Road to downtown is 17 miles. So it's a 10-mile incremental increase by taking the new 101 to go around the mountain. And to me, most people are not going to do that live out here.
Right.
So,
Yeah. So, do you believe it benefits anyone?
I think it's, and you're going to hear this word more and more, it's going to be called a bypass route. It's going to be called a truck bypass route. And we're talking now 20, 15 years out. When the Kanamax route gets some legs to it all across the western section, it's going to be an ideal route for them to do that. And we've got two major trucking firms out here around this section of it, Swift and Knight, and they are big players in the trucking business. And it would be to their best interest to have another way to get around the Broadway curve when they're making their runs out either from Nogales or to Nogales or to El Paso or going over to California. Mm-hmm. So this has got high implications for the truckers.
Have you heard the Kanamax issue been brought up to ADOT meetings in the past?
Yes, it has been. In fact, it's even referenced in this document.
What is their response from what you've seen?
They take the formal position that this is not a truck bypass route, that this is the truck bypass route is what I call and what they call too. You take 10 to 85, 85 to 8, back to 10, or you reverse it, 10 to 8 to 85 to 10. So that's the formal truck route. But truckers are intelligent people. They can read maps, and there's not much on in that Route 85 out there in terms of amenities. Mm-hmm. And you come up this way on 10 into the Ahwatukee area, and you've got a lot of good restaurants. You've got a casino very close that a lot of truckers like to stop at for a variety of reasons.
Is that what's known as the Kanamax Highway, or has that not been built yet?
The Kanamax has not been built. It's a formal portion of various freeways that are in existence in the western section of the United States, but there are major portions of it missing. Okay, I've got a top 10 list here of reasons why the proposed South Mountain Freeway is going to be extremely harmful to our area. When I call it the Ahwatukee Foothills area. And they're in rank order in my viewpoint, okay? Mm-hmm. First, the destruction of a portion of the South Mountain area, which is very sacred to the Greek. And that is a topic that I think really needs to be explored in great depth because of the sensitivity to that area. And to put that in a tiny bit of perspective, in this document here, ADOT does reference that. But they reference it by what I call this very simple mathematical statement that the cut through on the South Mountain represents 0.2% of the area of the South Mountain. Well, I'm going to make an analogy here. That's like a lady going in for a physical, and the doctor tells her, I got some news for you. You're 0.2% pregnant. You're either pregnant or you're not pregnant. And they're either going to destroy the South Mountain or they're not going to destroy it. And this is just destruction of the South Mountain. It's permanent. It will never be changed. Number 2, increased air pollution from truck traffic. Number 3, increased vehicle noise from truck traffic. It abuts a grade school. They're on Pecos Road. It's within a stone's distance of a grade school. And there are about 500 students at the grade school. Destroys a large church on the intersection of 24th Street and Pecos. Over 100 homes are impacted, depending upon how big the footprint gets, but it's at least 100. It eliminates the access point on 32nd Street to currently Pecos Road, the future being the interstate. And I don't think a lot of people understand this. And the reason I say that, I was talking to a business owner around 32nd and Chandler, mm-hmm. unaware that exit point was going to be lost. Truly think it was always going to be there. And that's a busy road. A lot of students are traffic's on that road. So that is then item number 8. It's going to result in a large traffic flow increase on our interior streets here in the area. It's going to permanently diminish the quality of life here in the Foothills area. We're known as the world's largest cul-de-sac. We get some fun made of that, but it is a true statement, and we all have chosen to live out here because we like it. We've got something nobody else in this valley has, and that's the foothills, the mountains. In my opinion, it's going to be marginal use of taxpayer dollars. We're spending over $2 billion for something that, at least on paper, is not economically justified. The critical, to me, get access to the documents. This one here has 450 pages in it. Part 2 has about 600 pages in it. But try to get access to the document, either at the library or on the internet. That's point one. Attend the meeting downtown at the convention center on the 21st. Be a very valuable session to go to. The critical date for the Ahwatukee people has to be the end of the draft EIS period, which I think is July 24th. That's the drop dead date. That's the date all comments must be submitted to ADOT-MAG for consideration in the draft EIS. That is the critical date.